Our group's project was on the future of natural gas. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Natural gas? Aren't those just dinosaur farts? No, stupid. Now pay attention while I try and teach you a little bit about it. Energy is one of the key drivers of most modern economies and has helped sustain the industrial developments we have in place today. Crude oil is a major source of this energy and has been since the early part of the 20th century. However, there are some limitations that are causing people to shift from crude oil to natural gas and other forms of fuel. First off, the supply of crude oil is diminishing. There is also a growing concern of global warming due to carbon emissions and greenhouse gases. At most energy debates lies the discussion of the potential application of natural gas as an alternative source of energy. Natural gas is a fossil fuel that is formed beneath the Earth's surface when layers of buried fossils are exposed to intense pressure and heat over a long period of time. When this happens, energy originally in plants are stored in the chemical bonds of natural gas. The key component of natural gas is methane, which is the lightest hydrocarbon molecule. Natural gas also contains traces of ethane, propane, and butane. These form a conglomerate of heavier hydrocarbons that are extracted from the production stream and separately marketed as liquid natural gas. In its unprocessed state, natural gas is usually referred to as wet gas. When the heavier hydrocarbons are removed, then it becomes dry gas. The global production of natural gas has increased significantly by 42%, representing about 105 trillion cubic feet as of 2009. This amount is predicted to increase as a result of the expansion of the production areas and the increase in remote sensing and extraction technologies. Additionally, the demand worldwide for natural gas has recently increased, with most nations seeking ways to explore their reserves of natural gas. Thermogenic natural gas is formed through the application of heat and pressure through long periods of time. It is found between porous rocks in the Earth's surface. This fossil fuel exists in two forms, associated and non-associated gas. Associated gas is formed alongside crude oil as it is recovered into the surface. Generally, this is treated as a byproduct of the oil extraction process. Non-associated gas, on the other hand, is deposited in reservoirs that do not have any oil. This means that natural gas in such deposits is the primary product. The non-associated gas accounts for 90% of all the gas that is produced in the United States. The non-associated form is recovered using the expansion process. There are two types of source descriptions with reference to natural gas: conventional sources and unconventional sources. The conventional sources are those that exist in discrete, well-arranged reservoirs that are permeable. Those are suitable for the sinking of vertical wells. However, unconventional sources are those that are formed in areas of low permeability such as coal beds, shale, and sandstone formations. These are distributed over wide geographical coverage and require horizontal wells and advanced technologies. Large shale gas deposits make up about 20% of total production of the natural gas in the U.S. The conventional gas reservoirs have been depleting in the U.S. over the past few years. However, shale natural gas has been projected to increase in the next few years and could be related to there being less associated costs of production. Natural gas is a non-renewable source of energy that is cleaner than other fossil fuels. On average, natural gas releases 25 to 30% less carbon dioxide compared to oil, as well as 50% less than carbon dioxide released when coal is used industrially and domestically. Additionally, when used in the generation of electricity, natural gas releases around 60% less carbon dioxide than was produced by coal per every kilowatt hour. There are also large natural gas reservoirs that have been unutilized and thus are an insured supply. Proven reserves worldwide of conventional gas alone are about 187.5 trillion cubic meters in size. This has a reserve production ratio of 60 years or more and can sustain the natural gas supply and demand worldwide. The disadvantage of natural gas is that just like other fossil fuels, it releases greenhouse gases. When transported or handled carelessly, there is also a high likelihood of accidents occurring. There are domestic and industrial applications of natural gas. It is used as a fuel source in kitchens and also as a fuel for vehicles. Natural gas has also been used in the Haber process that results in industrial ammonia. Natural gas can also be easily transported in its gaseous form from the production areas through a pipeline. Most of the gas-powered turbines and power stations are easy, cheap, and efficient to build. When natural gas is compared to crude oil, it does not release sulfur and nitrogen oxides to the same extent. Natural gas, just like any other fuel, has economic value attached to it. Most countries that produce natural gas may have a distinct advantage compared to other non-producing countries. Natural gas is cost efficient and has a smaller carbon footprint. One advantage would be that there is the reduction of feedstock costs. This would be because most of the industries would be able to use natural gas as a feedstock for their industrial activities. This would reduce the cost of products associated with such industries. Global economic growth would also increase the number of investors potentially seeking to enter the energy sector. The reduction of gas prices in producing regions would cut the cost of transport, as most transporters will be using gas that would be much more cost effective. This will also be an employment opportunity for a range of people, either directly or indirectly. Energy has been referred to by some authors as the power of economy or the driver of the economy. The low prices of natural gas will escalate a stimulus for employment. This will raise the living standards of the people and also increase the demand in other goods. When natural gas is exported, there will be the tax benefits and revenues that accrue from the process. As it stands now, there were over 24,000 jobs created in Pennsylvania in the natural gas sector alone, based on 2009 statistics. Natural gas, being reliable and cost-effective, will reduce the cost of electricity and thus the cost of production. A foreign exchange between countries as well as good relations can be established and thus foster economic growth and further globalization of the economy. When more treaties and trade agreements occur, there will be an increase in the flow of goods and services to the consumers. This will facilitate countries' economies that are currently independent and performing poorly. Despite the challenge posed by fossil fuels with greenhouse gas emissions, with particular emphasis on CO2, natural gas still remains one of the best alternatives for coal and crude oil. Gas-powered plants have the capacity to produce peaking amounts of power and can inherently respond to the elasticity of supply and demand. 40% of all the power generated in the U.S. in 2009 was accounted for by the natural gas power plants. The advancement of technology has made it possible to generate power and heat simultaneously. This process is called cogeneration. Cogeneration systems have been predicted to increase in the near future based on their efficiency. Another technology that is currently being tested and has proved efficient is the trigeneration system that combines heating, cooling, and power production processes. This will not only aid in transforming the industrial sector, but also help in cutting down the rates of carbon emissions. The combined cycle natural gas power plants will allow future economies to have minimum costs for electricity and therefore goods. The natural gas power plants are economical and easier to build compared to other power plants, taking only 3 years compared to the 5 for coal power plants. Gas turbines can be turned on and off, making the regulation and control over power output easier. America is one of the countries that has been able to tap into its natural shale gas reservoirs. The natural gas production has been forecasted to increase by 56% by 2040. There are predictions that by 2040, 35% of all energy consumed in the U.S. will be from natural gas. The U.S. has innovated new ways of extracting natural gas from shale. Hydraulic fracturing and horizontal drilling have enabled the country to tap into enormous deposits of natural gas in the Earth's interior. The statistics provided by the Energy Information Administration indicates that in 2011, natural gas was the most produced fuel in the United States. The EIA has also projected that in between 2010 and 2035, there will be a 28% growth in the production of natural gas. Due to the demand of natural gas as well as the improvement in transportation technology for natural gas, the U.S. shall be able to transform from being a net importer to a net exporter by the end of 2022. Natural gas demand in America is estimated to increase by 2.3% annually. This would mean that the demand will stand at 8.6 trillion cubic feet in 2025, from the 4.6 trillion cubic feet recorded in 2007. With large reservoirs, the U.S. is able to sustain the projected future demands without stretching our resources. This will fill in the gap between production and consumption in the country. However, the net imports will reduce significantly due to the discovery of shale gas and the corresponding development of extraction technologies. In conclusion, natural gas is one of the non-renewable sources of energy that has a low carbon footprint compared to other fossil fuels. It is used industrially, commercially, and domestically. It has its advantages and disadvantages, however it has a better outlook on growth as a stable source of energy. More interest by consumers, investors, and producers will boost the development within this industry.